Hey guys, Ryan Dement from Chasing Happiness Podcast. I hope you guys are having a great day. This week on the podcast, we have Susan Jane. Susan is a life coach that focuses on intuition. And she's from Australia, and she is a whole other time zone, almost the furthest part away of the world that she can be away from me in Arizona. Susan, thank you for coming on early morning, Friday, your time. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Ryan. Thank you for having me. And yes, I've got my coffee in hand, so I'm okay. I'm right to go.
That is great. So you're going to get powered up through some caffeine and we'll have some great conversation.
Certainly, yep.
Awesome. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself before we get into your story?
Yeah, certainly. So my name's Susan Jane. I call myself the intuitive. Well, actually, somebody called me that, so I've played with that. It's like the mentalist, but the mentalist does all the thoughts and how we think, whereas the intuitive is more about how we feel and our emotions. So I tend to go into that sort of side to it. I trained to be a life coach when Tony Robbins was still called Anthony Robbins. So it was like almost 100 years ago now. Or
it feels come on, not 100 years.
Okay, so I may exaggerate a little bit, but it was a long time ago. I created that side of it, and it was before they were a registered course, they were a registered thing. I think the Tony Robbins of the world have created that to make it real, a life coach, a real thing. But yeah, I still struggle with the terminology with it. I just like to help people. And if they're having trouble, I like to help them. And that's where I go. And I do that through the experiences that I've had in my life and through the education that I've had too. That's how I got to be where I am today. But I love talking about intuition. That's my passion.
Do you identify yourself more as an intuition coach or a life coach, or is it a mixture of the two?
I prefer to call myself an intuitive life coach, mainly because I don't necessarily follow a set pattern as a life coach would. A life coach would follow a structure or a system that they have learned or have been taught in their life coaching training. Now, in the days when I did life coaching, there wasn't that system there. You had to actually do a lot of reflection, and you had to learn a lot more about yourself and the experiences you had, so you could actually help people that have had those same similar experiences. So it was a different way of putting it together. So although I can put myself down as a life coach, I don't have the same quals that people would have nowadays, and I don't follow the same system. And that's why I tend to go, I'm an intuitive life coach or intuitive business coach, because basically what I get you to do is tap into your intuition and you tell yourself the right answers.
So does the intuition start internally in our bodies, or how does the intuition piece work?
Okay, then that's the long story. That's the life story part.
Okay, so let's back up. I jumped the gun because I was talking to somebody today, and we were talking about inner and outer, and it just got very deep. So I'm just continuing that conversation. So I apologize.
This will, I can assure you.
So let's start out with your journey in life and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, so I talk about my journey in life because otherwise it's going to be as boring as all nonsense, but I talk about it in the experiences that I've had, and I talk about it in the experiences that I've had that are related to my intuition. And when you're talking about inner and outer, that is basically where we're going as well. So at the age of 19, I went on a holiday 2 states away from home, and I was involved in a very violent pack rape. Now, during this particular rape, I left my body. Now, what had happened, I was walking back towards the unit where we were staying. I got tapped on the shoulder, turned around, king hit, knocked out, and came to being dragged into the back of the car by my hair. Now, I'm in the back of this car, and they're doing whatever they're doing. And all I could think of was, I can't stop them doing this to me. I've just got to go with the flow, because the more I was fighting, the more bruised and battered I was getting. So I have to go with the flow on this. But how can I stop them? I asked the question, how can I stop them doing it to somebody else? How can I stop this continuing? And in an instant, I left my body. So I'd asked that question and I left my body. Now, when I'd left my body, I was outside of the car looking in. Now, I couldn't go any further, and I had no intention of going any further, and I don't know why, but I just was there. I remember looking in and looking around thinking, people need to help her. And I call her or she because I didn't feel it was me. Even though it looked like me, it didn't feel like me. So I remember going, somebody should be helping her, or somebody should be there.